Good afternoon everyone, this is Vodka Martinis. Welcome to another video. I do apologise, I haven't made a video in a few months now, but I am trying to make time for more videos, so hopefully I can get this one done quite soon. So today is a repair video. On my left, you won't be able to see, it's not very light today, it's quite cloudy. I think you're right, it's a Neo-Geo CD. The lid is missing, it's right here. I will show you the Neo-Geo CD up close in detail in a minute, but firstly I just wanted to show you the problem that I have. So this is a Neo-Geo CD lid. As you can see, one of the hinges is broken. If you don't know, the Neo-Geo CD has a spring-loaded lid, which is very similar to the PlayStation 1, whereas the PlayStation 1 has a separate eject button that you push to release the lid. This one, you actually push the middle of the lid itself, and it's spring-loaded and it comes up slowly like this. You put your disc in and then you push it down again and it clicks in place, and then the CD should start. In this case the hinge here is broken. This is the exact piece. I bought this 2 or 3 years ago on eBay. I think it was about £100. The CD spindle had a problem. I think that was broken. I did fix that, but also the hinge lid was broken like this. This is quite a hefty lid, so super glue is not going to be enough for this. So instead I'm going to try something a little bit different. I've never done it before, but I will try to drill 2 small holes into the plastic of the lid and the hinge piece that is broken off in both sides, and then I'm going to use 2 nails. I believe these are 1.6mm, but I'll have to confirm that later when I measure them with calipers. I'll obviously cut these nails down with a hacksaw so that they're just 2 short pins, and I will use those pins to secure this hinge, hopefully, back to the lid. I also will be using some fiberglass. I'll explain why I'm going to use that later, but I have used this fiberglass before to repair some broken plastic with good results, so hopefully that should be fine. And then once that's working, everything should be good. As usual, I'll break the video down into 3 parts. I will show you all of the tools and materials that you'll need. In part 2, I'll actually go through the repair, which will involve cutting the nails to size, fixing the hinge as I explained earlier, and using the fiberglass. Once that's finished, part 3, I will reassemble the console, put the lid back with the springs. I will demonstrate the lid opening and closing, hopefully successfully. Of course, I will load up a Neo-Geo CD game, demonstrate that in action. If that works, I think I'll leave it there. So with that, I'm going to go over to the worktop behind me now, get started. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. We're at the worktop now. I just wanted to show you the tools and materials that I'm going to use before I carry out the repair. So on the right side, I've got a pair of calipers. I'm using those to measure the size of the nails. I think these are 1.6mm, I'm not sure, and also that it matches with the drill bit size. I also have a clamp. I'm going to use this to hold the pins in place while I cut them. I have a hand drill here. You can use a Dremel or a rotary tool, that would work fine. In my case, I just prefer using the hand drill for fine work like this. And we've got the lid and the broken hinge, and we've got 2 nails. But one more thing, I've got this hacksaw. This is what I'll be using to cut the nails. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with the repair. Okay, so I wasn't able to film the last bit, so I'll just recap what I did before. So I did secure the hinge to the lid okay, but because the pins were at a slight angle, the hinge was bent inwards. To make it straight again, you won't be able to see, but I used this G-clamp. So I clamped this so that it was at a right angle. I used a bit of super glue just as a temporary hold. So you can see here, I've put some fiberglass mostly on the inside. Now I'm just going to tidy this up. I've got some different graded sandpaper. There's P800, P320 and 1200, which is the finest one. I've got a Stanley knife, so I'm going to use those to tidy this up. Okay, so this part is pretty much finished now. I've put the pins in, I've secured them, and this is most of the fiberglass that I have sanded down a little bit on this side. Most of the surplus fiberglass on the other side I sanded down completely. There's almost nothing left there. Also, I didn't mention, I did break a piece of plastic here, and I was a little bit worried at the time, so I've tried my best to use the fiberglass to fill in that missing piece of plastic. It does look a little bit messy right now, so what I'm going to do quickly, I have some spray paint here. I've used a similar spray paint to this before. It was exactly the same in one of my other videos, except that was matte black. This one is satin black. This console lid does have a slight sheen to it. I'm just going to use this. It's mainly for the outside, not for the inside, because you obviously won't see that. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so that's finished now. Yeah, I didn't use any primer, any surface preparation. I just cleaned that up with a paintbrush just to get the dust off. This is definitely not perfect. That's just unfortunately because of the overspill. If I masked this part off, if I did that again, that might work better. There is a slight bit of fiberglass on this side, but obviously you will not see this part. Also the same for the inside. This looks very obvious because it's on the inside. It's not something I'm worried about. Also, I took this off. This is what holds the CD in place. Yeah, I just removed that while I spray painted it. I'm quite happy with the result of that. The most important thing is this has a little bit of flex now, but is still very, very strong. Okay, so I've got almost everything reassembled now. You won't see this well, the light is very bad here, but on the left, I will zoom in. Sorry, that's the best that I can do. On the left is the hinge that I repaired, plus the spring that I made using the vise earlier. There was a slight problem with this spring. I will show you that a little bit later, but physically it does fit and it's working fine. On the right side, if I just pan over to the right, This is the original spring. You can probably just barely make that out, so no issues there. Now, while I've got this open, I'll have to show you a couple of modifications I've made. So firstly, anyone who either has or is thinking about getting a Neo-Geo CD but worry about the language barrier, the Neo-Geo is very easy to region mod. You can make it display both menus and sub-menus in English if that's what you want, and I can show you how to do that now. It's dead easy. This is the front logic board that has the two controller input. There's the power button on the left side. Over here there's the CD lid switch mechanism. On the left side you'll see a table here that refers to 4 jumpers. The jumpers are JN4, JN3, JN2 and JN1. So each of the combinations of these X's and zeros show the configuration for each region. So you've got Japan NTSE, USA NTSE and Europe PAL. This particular console is a Japanese NTSE 60Hz, but there are also PAL versions that were sold in Europe as well as NTSE 60Hz North American ones. The modification I made is very simple. I wanted North American versions of the games that I have, so all the menus and sub-menus appear in English. So X means jumper is open and 0 means closed or bridge. As I said, I wanted everything in English. If you have a look at the USA settings, all of them are open. So XXX for JN2, JN3 and JN4. JN1, that's closed. If you have a look to the right, you'll notice I put a wire. I closed that JN1 jumper. So this console will run in 60Hz NTSE, displaying all menus and sub-menus in English. And I'll be able to show you that later. Now, you might have noticed earlier, this is the CD drive logic board here, and just to the right this is the CD laser assembly here. Attached to the logic board an SD loader extension card. I'll be able to show you afterwards. This goes through the vents of the top and you can insert your SD card through here, which is very handy. I can't show you the actual SD loader board because it's concealed under this cover where the main logic board is, but I'll put a picture up on the screen just to show you what it looks like. For those who don't know, the SD loader is an ODE, it's an optical drive emulator which lets you put your games onto an SD card. Even though emulating a CD drive is nothing new, it's available in a lot of CD based consoles. This Neo-Geo, also I think it's available on the Neo-Geo CD front loader. It is slightly unique because it allows you to keep the CD drive simultaneously while using the SD loader, whereas a lot of the other ODEs you have to swap out the drive and remove the drive permanently. In my case, I love having both options because even though I'm not a big games collector, but I do occasionally like to pick up games. So keeping the CD drive working means I can check both the CD drive is still working over time, but I also can check any games that I happen to pick up. So that's all ready. I've got that all fully assembled now. I'm going to go upstairs and head over to the monitor and connect this up. I'm going to put a CD inside and check out if the lid is working okay. So we're reaching the end of the video now. I mentioned before I had a little bit of a problem with the spring. I made my own spring because one of the original springs was missing, but the tension in the spring was quite strong. This lid opens like really quickly. It is not supposed to open that quickly. Now it will work with one spring. I've found that if you just have one spring it won't open by itself. If I find a fix to that I'll be able to show you how the lid is supposed to open, but that's the best that I could do. With the SD card loader that I have installed, it always will boot into the SD loader menu. It will not start booting from the CD, but there is an option in the menu. You can reboot the system to reboot from the CD if you understand what I mean. This is King of Fighters 94 team battle action game. I want to put that in there and I want to close the lid and switch it on. This is the boot menu for, if you have a look at the option, if you push D, it says restart console to CD mode with the region currently set. Let's just go back. Country, Europe. No, I think I should put USA. I'm not sure if this will override. So this is set up as USA, but I wonder what happens if I set that to Japan, because whatever CD you put into this, it's the console itself that will select the appropriate region. In other words, every CD, I believe, has all different versions of the game on each CD. I'm not sure about Brazil. Yeah, so that's interesting. So the SD loader does override. So it says here in Japanese, please wait a moment, like shibaraku machi kudasai. So if I go to menu, all the sub menus are in Japanese. But it is interesting because it means that you don't actually have to do any hardware modification with the SD loader, because that will override everything. So that modification was actually a waste of time. Not a waste of time, but I didn't realise I didn't need to do it. I want to set this to USA now. This is actually very cool because it means you can set any region just through the software. CD menu. So I'm booting this game now from the CD. Wait for a moment instead of wait for a moment in Japanese. And then if you go to menu, sorry, memory. Yeah, so that's a very good feature. Another good feature of the SD loader. I'm going to push start and the game should load up now. So this is the game loading up from the CD now. You can tell that this is loading from the CD. You might not be able to hear it, but you'll have to take my word for it. It is loading from the CD because the loading times on the CD, they're quite slow. So if you loaded this game using SD loader, that bar would go up like really quickly. But this CD seems to be working okay. It's fine. I'll just put demo. So I think I'm going to end the video there. So I'm very happy with this result. The game is running fine from the CD. I fixed the lid. Everything is working perfectly now. If anyone has any questions about the Neo-Geo CD or the SD loader or any other problems they might have with the Neo-Geo CD, just pop it in the comments and I'll be happy to answer any questions. So with that, thank you very much for watching. See you later.